Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, broadcast live from a secret, undisclosed location here in the heart of the great state of Colorado. My name is Nicholas Razo, and without further ado, I present to you all our fearless patron, Hugo Chavez Rey. Give it up for the Hispanic Patriots.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We have a good show lined up for you tonight. We have a great candidate in District 1 in Colorado, which is Southwest Denver. Mr. Joseph Montoya will be joining us here shortly. In the meantime, there's a lot of hullabaloo going on about my resignation from the Denver GOP as vice chair.
You think?
If you've been paying attention a little bit, yours truly has gotten a lot of attention in the last 24 hours, and some good, maybe some not so good, but the good outnumbers the bad, I think. And so I've had a lot of people calling me and texting me and emailing me, sharing their support for me and letting me know that they understand and that they're standing strong with me. So to those folks, I want to just say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and we'll continue the good fight. But this show is not about me. It's about you.
Which is why I'm going to talk about it instead of Hugo, because he's a little biased on the subject. So I feel a little more objective talking about this. So for those of you who don't know, for all few of you who don't know, or for those of you who are tuning in from other states, because this is getting potentially, a cross-state traction, and we hope it does because it's a big story. Hugo faced a vote of no confidence, which was basically the vote was 11-7, and the reason for this was because Hugo, stood his opinion on the question between Greg Lopez and Victor Marx. Now, we don't have time to get into that right here, right now, but I personally believe that every U.S. citizen and every member of the Republican Party should be allowed to do what they think is right in all political situations, because this is your party. This is not. You don't have to be a conformist to this party. You get to make this party. I want to make that very clear. It's like, never feel like you have to obey everything the party says, because the party is supposed to be you. And that's what Hugo was standing up for. So instead of being forced after many other leadership that had no confidence, it's interesting that the people who had no confidence claiming in your leadership, Hugo, had no leadership standing whatsoever. We're not interested in stepping up to the plate. We're not interested in helping your local GOP. So the summary of this is that Hugo has resigned from his position as vice chair in order to concentrate on effective endeavors. It has to be said. It's sad that we can't say that some of our county GOPs are not effective as they should be, especially in our capital. So that means that you'll be seeing a lot more of Hugo. You'll be seeing a lot more of both of us as we continue to work to get Republicans and conservatives elected in this state. And I think that's at least my opinion, my personal opinion on the story, Hugo. If the question is, are you supporting a Republican or a conservative? That's the question. That's the biggest question between the establishment and the grassroots, everything in Colorado. Are you culpable if you support a Republican who's not a conservative? And are you at fault if you support a conservative who's not a Republican? This is a question we have to answer. And I don't think they want it answered, because I don't think they like it.
No, they don't, and they won't. They, meaning the opposition, won't agree. But in my humble opinion, the only conservative left in the race is Mr. Greg Lopez. So that's it in a nutshell. So,
and if that's a factual statement, then I want to make that clear for our viewers. If that's a factual statement, what Hugo just said there, then I think unbiasedly, the question of his leadership was unfair and not charitable at best, and at worst a ploy by one political faction to oust the people duly elected of another faction, which I don't believe is right. And I hope we see that less of that in the future in Colorado, but we have to see after this election. It's going to be a very tough gubernatorial election, Hugo. I think that your situation is one of the first shots across the bow of it. So stay tuned on the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, folks. This is the front line of it all.
All right. So, looking into our green room, we have Mr. Montoya waiting in the wings. So we're going to roll right into the interview. And want to give a brief introduction to Mr. Montoya. He is known as Ghost Elvis and is a Denver native, father, and double honors student at Arapahoe Community College, where he earned straight A's last semester. He's on the autism spectrum and channels that unique perspective into his creative work and advocacy. As Ghost Elvis, he blends EDM with Spanish influences, releasing albums like Ghost Vibes and Dirty Tape. We'll let him explain that. He's also working to open his own family law practice in the near future. So, without further ado, let's welcome to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, Mr. Joseph on. Joseph.
Hey,
Hello, Joseph. Now, you folks didn't expect a guy in a suit, did you, when you heard that description? I don't lie now. Don't lie, folks. It's very nice to have you, sir.
thank you. Thank you. Really honored to be here, guys. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm a musician. That's like how I therapy. It's like therapy for me. But this political stuff is really where my heart is. I'd really like to make some changes here in Denver. And I commend you, Hugo, for coming out for your beliefs on your support for Greg Lopez. I actually did something similar. I was supporting Victor Marx. I did some campaigning for him. And after watching the debate, I really seen Barbara Kirkmeyer as my choice. I switched sides, and it was a pretty big deal. She came out on Facebook and commended me, and Complete Colorado did an article on it. You can read that. It's out there. And I just really believe, standing up for your beliefs, what you believe. And, now I'm right. I'm back to supporting Victor, basically. So, I'm honored to be here, and I'm actually at school right now, taking a little break.
All right. Well,
very
so
nice.
you're
Fantastic.
the candidate for District 1. So for listeners who may be meeting you for the first time, tell us about yourself a little bit and your background and why you decided to run for the Colorado State House.
Yeah, so I'm a Denver native, grew up in Southwest Denver. I was born in the San Luis Valley, Alamosa. I got a lot of ties to the valley. And for me, there's a lot of things. I see people out there advocating for parental rights, better housing. And I thought to myself, well, how can I actually make an impact? What can I do? And that's running for office, getting in there, writing the laws. I have a big passion for law. I'm in the paralegal program at Arapahoe, and I love it. It's like with music and law, those really excite me. So I really plug myself into those, get involved. And I seen that, the district is open in my party, the Republican Party. So I said, let's do it. It's kind of a lot to take on. Now that I'm way deep in it, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. But it would be awesome to win. A Republican hasn't won this district since the 1970s. So if I do it, I'll make history right here in Colorado, which I'm really hoping. I graduated from West High graduate. Was JROTC all 4 years. Did that, really excelled there. Have a lot of buddies from there, ROTC. It's where a lot of my friends are. I still got tons of friends that I talk to from there. But I could go on and on about myself. There's a lot I do.
Yeah. So what, first of all, real quick, do you know Raymond Garcia?
Sounds familiar, Raymond Garcia.
Okay,
Really
Raymond used to live in your district. In fact, he ran for that district once or twice. He moved down to Fountain in Colorado Springs. So
For those of our listening who do not remember or do not know Raymond Garcia, he is the awesome chairman of the Colorado Hispanic Republicans, a office that our own illustrious Hugo once had.
Yes, he succeeded me after 10 years, and Ray's been running the show for, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. So I just thought you might want to connect with Raymond because he knows that district pretty well.
We'll have resources from the CHR in the description.
Absolutely.
I did Cinco de Mayo for him. I didn't get a chance to meet him when he was there. I got to meet Mark Beasley was down there when I was down there.
Yeah.
That was nice to meet him. He's a great guy.
A strong friend of the Hispanic Patriot Podcast.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
His wife is Hispanic.
Indeed.
Yep.
Nice.
Hello, ma'am, if you're watching. Shout out to Mark Baisley's wife. She is fantastic.
Nice.
So, give us a brief explanation of why you believe District 1 needs new representation.
My opponent, although he's an attorney, he's gotten the state sued. We're actively in litigation because of his laws that he had passed. A lot of the things he's done, he had to have Jared Polis push and sign through. It doesn't seem like he can work with the members in the House real good. He's a big DSA candidate, Democratic Socialist America, which I am strongly opposed to. That's a big reason that I want to challenge him. There's a lot of things. The EpiPen law is where he's gotten us in litigation with all the manufacturers of the EpiPens. I myself have an EpiPen, and I've seen the process. You got to go and apply to the state, and the state eats the cost, So he's not saving our state money. He's costing our state more money by what he's doing in office. And I don't see the passion for renters and homeowners, even though he's an eviction attorney. I don't think the laws that he has passed have been very beneficial to any of us, really. So those are kind of my big beefs with him. I've seen him speak. I don't think he's very articulated as well either. So I don't know how he's communicating with other members. And I just really feel like it's time for him to move on and maybe work on something else. The time he's been in office, he's built this economic defense program. I think it's up towards $11 million now worth. And they don't actually give money to people who are facing eviction. They actually, that money, him and his friends are making $100,000 a year, and they're pulling that out of that, from what I've researched. So I just don't see that he's really got that passion. Like, I've faced eviction personally. I've experienced homelessness personally. And here's my idea. I want to say the senior housing tax credit. You got to be in your home for 10 years. So if I have a senior citizen that decides to move and they're 65 years old, they're not going to get that tax credit until they're 75 years old. And that's unacceptable. For me, I think we need to remove that for our senior citizens. We need to do something. Maybe it's a year, something. Maybe it's 2 years, but we need to open that conversation. For me, that's one of the big things in housing. I feel like senior citizens, they absolutely need that. And that's something he hasn't addressed. And that really surprises me, I feel like that's a big flaw right there.
I would absolutely agree with that. A lot of young people these days have very much the same experience with, renting and situations like that. There's a lot of unscrupulous practices that have to be weeded out, and I agree with your analysis. Also, just a little bit of additional context that I wanted to provide for our audience. Our friend Joseph's opponent is a Berkeley grad. Take that what you will.
You're right. And I've heard people give him a hard time for that. And I can't really beat down on him. He is an attorney.
No, it is a joke, absolutely.
But, no, I get it. But yeah, because I'm looking at my own avenues, how to become an attorney too. And that is one of the easier routes to go. But I really want to get some good knowledge. Go ahead.
Back in my day, we used to call that Berkeley Commie U. So
it's kind of like O Block in Chicago. It's like it has gotten better, but it's still not livable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Hugo, take it away.
So the direction of Colorado is at the forefront of most people's minds nowadays. And, like you mentioned, the DSA virus is going around, and there's a lot of young people whom I believe are just severely misinformed and easily manipulated to believe that these DSA people are anything to be taken serious. But unfortunately, they have managed to garner that support from a lot of these young people who, for whatever reason, have latched on to this agenda that they put out. And I think a lot of it has to do with just lack of information.
Mhm.
They don't know what they're really doing. Jesus said, "Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And I believe that is the case with a lot of our young people. This is not to disparage them, because I believe that they are the future, and that once they get the right information, then they will see the light. Because deep down, most of them came from good American parents, and they probably do love their country in their own specific way. But we've got to push back on this. So Colorado has changed dramatically politically over the past several years, and I would say the last couple of decades. So, where do you personally believe the state is headed in its current situation, and are you satisfied with that direction?
Yeah, I am not satisfied. Biggest thing for me is a lot of people jump on the bandwagon, you without really looking into the issues. Here's the thing with the DSA. Read their website. I encourage you to go to the
Oh, I
DSA.org.
have.
Absolutely. It says, let's get rid of the president. Let's get rid of the Senate. Let's rewrite the Constitution. Like, a lot of these people don't really support that, but they don't know that. And then the biggest argument too they come with is we already have socialism. No, you're mistaking a welfare state for socialism.
Yep.
The welfare state is where we actually are indebted. The fire department's indebted and then they pay them back. This is not socialism. Socialism is the government owns them, controls it, everything, and they're misinformed. I get the biggest argument from people is, well, we already have socialism. No, we don't. Absolutely not. We have a welfare state.
Absolutely.
So get in, research it, and it's just a lack of knowledge getting these people out there to understand what's going on. Then you got Bernie Sanders out here, you know. No, this is not the direction Colorado needs to go in. I was really sad to see Deanna to get taken out. She's actually really good lady. She did some work for my mom, but my mom's a veteran, and she helped my mom get her status corrected as a veteran. So I grew up seeing Deanna to get here. Pat Schroeder, I got a lot of love for Democrats. I was a Democrat until 2018. I decided at 2018 I started seeing my views, and I'm like, the party's not aligning with me, and the Republicans are aligning with me more. And there is a movement there, you know, but it's not moving as fast as the Democrats. And a lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon. And I encourage them, get out there and read it, you know, get out there and see it. And like, we have conservative Christian values, and a lot of Hispanics align with that. And the Democrats have moved away from that so bad. So I'm really hoping that, our Hispanic Republicans or Hispanic conservatives and Democrats and unaffiliated really look into this. And, do you want to go somebody who's backing God or somebody who's backing socialism? Because with me having God and Buddhism, I'm actually a Buddhist too. That's the thing. People give
Respect.
me a hard time. They're like, hey, you're a Buddhist and a Catholic. Those, both sides are always telling
You
me.
know what's actually crazy about that? I actually ran into a couple of Buddhist monks by the Ark thrift store, actually, or actually no, it was the Goodwill. They were just there. They had a local temple there, and people. So for Colorado Springs, we have a lot of Vietnamese and Koreans and a lot of different people, and some of these people, especially in Southeast Asia, are Buddhists, and they are. We talked, and they said that we're very respectful of the Catholic religion, you guys, because we both respect life and knowledge, and we want to make good in the world. And one thing, I totally agree with you, Joe, is that it's very frustrating to hear we already have socialism, and then people bring up the police or the fire department or any apparatus of government. Because okay, so was socialism invented in the Roman Empire? Because they had firefighters in the Roman Empire, they had police officers, in ancient Greece. We had watchmen, we had all these things. So this sort of retconning of history to say we've always had socialism rather than recognizing it's a post-enlightenment idea which I think is very funny that these people talk about progress and then cling heavily to a 200-year-old ideology invented in France. That it's very interesting to me from a historical perspective, as you said. So
It's it's really
right.
just a lack of I'm sorry, Hugo. It's really a lack of knowledge. It really is. Just you see something and it's like you see a nice shiny car. Oh, that's beautiful, but what brand is it? Does this man is it a Chevy? Because the Chevy puts good work. It's like it looks like a Chevy, but it's not. And then I just want to touch on my Buddhism real quick. A lot of
Yeah,
people
right,
know
go
what
ahead, please.
it is. It's Tina Turner practiced it. Name Horenge Kyo. It's the same Buddhism she took Nichiren. So it's not nothing out there wild. You know what I mean? It's something people know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I definitely respect that, and absolutely. Go right ahead, Hugo.
Okay. Well, if elected, what one law would you work to repeal or substantially change?
Housing would be my first thing. It would be the senior tax credit. Really, that is the one that I've really cracked open and found. Second would come some kind of rent control for everybody. Um, it's just too much. But the big passion behind me is family law. I feel like Colorado has an opportunity with me to create a model family court that can be affecting the entire nation because in the entire nation, family court's an issue. There's a lot of violence in family court. It doesn't stop violence, it doesn't end it, it actually increases it. So I have an idea. There's been a model that's worked nationwide called drug court, and drug court has actually been successful nationwide. We can take that same model and we can put it into high conflict um, divorce cases where there's a protection order or something, and we can have an intensive court where they go to court once a month, and this will stop parent alienation. This will really find out who's abusing who. We could use CFIs and parental right evaluators in a different way. So for me, I've seen it. I'm in it. I've taken family law, got an A, and I really feel like we have an opportunity with me to change that dynamic for the nation because Colorado is a great model for the nation. What we do here, a lot of people are looking to us, like marijuana. We're the first ones to do that. We have an opportunity with me where we don't have that with my opponent. He doesn't have that experience. I don't believe he has children or has been married and divorced or anything that I know of. I heard his real name is Joseph, but he goes by Javier, so it looks more Hispanic. That'd be like me going, my middle name is Miguel. I'd be running as Miguel Montoya.
Jose Montoya over here. But you know what? It's like just take out the last two letters versus.
Be true to yourself,
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Just
it's
the
funny.
title.
It's
Just
very
like the
interesting. It's very interesting that a lot of Democrats historically have done this, and even in our Elizabeth Warren, that's actually not her real first full name.
Mhm.
Barack Obama is the biggest example. Barry Satoya, and there's many examples. Just Chuck Schumer, all kinds of people. There's extra names in there that people don't want to mention, and I
Should
don't
I run under
understand
Ghost
that at all.
Elvis?
It's very true, and that's the thing, and that's why Hugo Chavez Rey would like to remind everybody that his last name is Chavez Rey. Chavez Rey, not Chavez.
You gotta.
Yeah, we
Chavez
have
Rey.
a lot of
Yes.
similar names in Hispanic culture. If you don't know, folks, that's why we have the additional last name to help tell each other apart. Especially on government documents. But the thing that I most wanted to observe in what you said, Joseph, was that there is, in my opinion as well, a lack of real life experience by our politicians, people who have been able to make success and become elected because they're isolated and insulated from the slings and arrows of life that often bring you down, force you to struggle, force you to understand the working people. And I think that's an amazing opportunity for Republicans in Denver and in your district especially. Because I think some Republicans may hear what you say and say, well, I'm not sure if I like this policy or that policy. But I would like to offer this observation that I would rather a Republican direct these policies than a Democrat because Republicans have incentive to be successful and to turn the state to really serve the people. Whereas Democrats, as the ruling party, only have incentive to keep the status quo, which is themselves in power, which, as you've all noticed, if living in Colorado the last decade or so, the Democrats don't seem to see improving the state and keeping power as one in the same. But Republicans absolutely do seem to want to push that envelope. So it's
They're
great to hear.
this close to having a super majority. They already have the majority. And that's a big reason I'm running too. We don't need a super majority. Then it's
We
like,
never need that. We do not need that.
we don't need that any.
Very
Well,
true.
especially made
People
up
like
of,
Colorado as a purple state. Sorry, Hugo, go right ahead.
Yeah.
you know, the things that people are talking about are taxes, the economy, public safety, crime. These are the things that are important to fight. But people want to talk about ICE and all this other stuff. Look, you either believe in immigration enforcement or you don't. And the ones that don't are, in my opinion, for the most part, have shown that they are for open borders. So, what does that mean to the state of Colorado? Well, let's just look at Denver. What did Mayor Johnson and his cronies at the city council basically opened up the floodgates and spent, at last count, it's probably much higher, but I'm going to just say $350 million on illegal immigrants,
Mhm.
and then promptly turned around and started cutting services to people like me. And so,
Mhm.
you know, how does that make any sense to people? And I can't for the life of me understand how some people will just vote just because of the letter instead of what the policies are. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And I was watching a podcast that, interestingly enough, that showed that had Mayor Hancock on it, and this is a black conservative podcast where he was a guest on there, and he was talking like a conservative, Mayor Hancock. So even he recognizes that his party has gone haywire, and he's not aligned with that. So you see a lot of that. So with regards to the issues that face the citizens of the state, one of the biggest targets the Democrats have focused on is Tabor.
Mhm.
And you know, what do you believe Colorado politicians have done adequately with respect to Tabor and their intent of the taxpayer Bill of Rights? Well, how do you see that issue?
So I want to touch on a couple of issues too. On that first subject you were talking about, with the 350 million on legals, I've seen it firsthand. I was actually part of a fatherhood group in Denver County, which I graduated from, and they actually ended. I did like a second round of the program because I was really trying to get involved, and they ended the programs. And I asked them why, and they said so we could help illegals coming in. Blew my mind. I was like, really? These are fathers here trying to be part of their children's lives, better themselves, and you're going to end that program. That really made,
According to Mayor Johnson, they're newcomers.
yeah. And you know what? Johnson can't even spell California. You know?
I wonder what you have to do in
He's
order
from
to become,
right? Isn't he
to
from
become that
California?
level. Please.
Yeah. So
they're attacking Tabor.
yeah,
And
that
if they
really.
get their way, they're going to do away with Tabor. And they're already showing that they're not going to give us any refunds this coming year. So
Yeah, and we've been seeing that. When I was younger, I would always get a refund from the state of Colorado. It may not have been much, but we would always get a refund from the state. You expect a couple $100 from the state, and as we've gone on, it's gone. No, now you owe the state. You know, I'm like, no, I'm owing the state of Colorado. Okay, that was set up in the '70s. You know, these guys really set it up to protect us and to give a little bit more control to the citizens over these funds. But you know, it's like the marijuana fund too. They shifted all this talk about it was for school, for school, for school. It
For
hasn't
the
been used
children.
for the children, and they're pushing that agenda right now too on some other subjects. But here's the thing: once they get their hands on the money, like the Tabor, then they can appropriate it to whatever they want. They just want to get it over the bar there. And once they get it over the bar, they actually don't have to use it for what they said they were going to use
De
it.
facto kind of treated as one pot of money, much like our Social Security funds, it should be said.
They're
Yeah,
like,
and then it's like paying the bills. You know, dad goes to work. Yeah, I'm working for the family. Once he gets it in his wallet, if he wants to go to the bar and drink, that's what's going to happen. You
And
know?
that's what I tell people about Tabor, especially for our viewers from other states. You know, if you go to the grocery store and you buy $80 worth of groceries and you give the cashier $100, is he allowed to keep that extra 20 for himself or for the business? No. So why should our government be allowed to do the same thing when we give them our tax money?
Yeah, yeah. There needs to be more balances and checks. The citizens need more power. We need more voting rights. Um, I got a $20 million bridge they just built, walking bridge by my house. I think you've seen it over there by Overland.
yep.
You know, but we have a walking bridge less than a mile right there, and it's falling apart. You get on it and it shakes now. Evans is completely torn up. I mean, it's got very dangerous potholes. They barely patched it up and repaired where right by the train tracks. That was so dangerous. People could definitely die hitting that. You know,
Damn.
I'm like, how come we're not taking care of our infrastructure? Instead, we're building a $20 million bridge. I know voters approved it way long time ago, but it's crazy. It's like it's unnecessary. And that's coming from the Shattuck site. A lot of people don't even remember Shattuck and know about Shattuck, but I grew up working on Shattuck. I actually have a bunch of articles on Shattuck from 1993 to like 2006. My friend Debbie Spar Sanchez goes really close with the Flowbots. She worked on that. And I don't know if you know that story of Shattuck. It's the exact same story as Erin Brockovich. She came up with some, they were like, she went to Congress. They're like, what are these redacted files? Here's the originals. The guy from Shattuck kept it. He had a box of them. He gave them to Debbie. It's swept under the rug now. People don't even know that's a super fun, low radiation site, and they live there. And that's my neighborhood. I live right by it. You know, things like this just swept under the rug, hidden from Denver. You know, and we're better than that. You know, this is a great state, and it needs improvement. We need
Absolutely. We need to put this, stop the assault on Tabor. That's priority one in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
me
agree
too.
too.
I'm high
And
on
Denver
that.
itself is a great city, and that's really something frustrating to me as someone who saw the downfall of Chicago, which was my hometown. You know, Denver has really not fallen yet. It's not fallen into complete unsavability and disrepair, but it's teetering on the peak of it, and people have to understand that, especially people from outside the city who don't have the personal experience and knowledge that you do. And that's something that I think goes back to the point that I made earlier: is we need politicians, we need statesmen up at the Capitol who actually have the life experience within the communities they're trying to represent, that they actually know what life is like there, and that they know those hidden things that the media or that the politicians often don't talk about. So that's great to hear.
So one of the things that you hear a lot when you talk to candidates is people want to know, well, what's the first thing you're going to sponsor when you get into office? And what I believe is I want to know what the candidate is going to do to reduce regulations and take away some of the laws that have been implemented that are stifling small business, stifling senior citizens, and basically stifling those that want to, get a leg up on their careers or whatever it is they want to do. It's much harder to start a business nowadays because you have like 100 regulations you have to abide by, and then in order to really be successful, you have to be able to generate enough income to overcome all these regulations and fees, which are an end around against Tabor, because that was another thing is people were not, these politicians were not supposed to be implementing new taxes. So what they did is they just changed the name to fees. And if you don't believe me, take a look at your auto registration certificate. And
It's
I think
absolutely
that at last count there was like 30 fees on there.
Yeah.
Everything
Whoa.
from
I just got mine.
road,
What
driving,
would help you guys? But that
walking.
Yeah.
in terms of state, by comparison, state by state regulations, Colorado is ranked 12th in the nation for state regulation. That is as
That's
well as
because we're a nanny state.
Just God help us with that. And that's the thing is that anything that keeps you weak is not trying to help you, and that's never how we've lived as Americans. That we've always believed that when the people are strong, the country is strong, and that's definitely what we support here on the Hispanic Patriot Podcast: is strong people and strong candidates to support them.
So let me touch on that. Sorry, guys, real quick.
Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, read my lips. No new taxes, right?
Love it.
Deregulating for these builders, because a lot of that cost goes right back into the renter. There's just too much red tape for them. The senior tax credit, things like that. I'm really wanting to dig into, and here's the thing, I get elected, I'm going to go talk to these people and get more insight, because I really need to know more things that they're struggling with to understand how to change those laws. So I bounced around the ideas of rent control, that they've used in other, like New York, things like that. But really deregulating absolutely for these builders and stuff, and business owners, just cutting a lot of the red tape to try to get them in better place, and absolutely protecting Tabor 100%. It's under attack. And then one other quick idea I had is, I know we got a ton of license plates out there, but the San Luis Valley has 2 of the 5 out of all the 5 poorest counties in Colorado, 2 of them in the San Luis Valley. I think we need to make a license plate, Sand Dunes license plate for them, and get some funding over there for schools, education over there, resources, because there's a lot of people who've done drugs because there's nothing to do. And I know that's out of my district, but I'm thinking statewide. How are we going to improve the state?
No, that's very true. I'm glad to hear that, actually, because a lot of people don't think about this. When you're elected as a representative, yes, you are primarily an advocate for your particular district, but you are a legislator for the entirety of the state. So it is extremely, important for any legislator to travel the state, get to know the whole state, and while knowing their district the best out of anywhere in the state, it's not anywhere that they should be confined to. So I'm very happy to hear that, because a lot of people running for office don't understand that. So it's wonderful to hear that.
Thank you.
So you've been out on the campaign trail. Have you done some door knocking already? Have you talked to some folks in different sectors of your district?
I really need to step it up on that. Like I said, I've been really busy, and I really do. I've talked to a few people in Harvey Park. My sister's living there. A few people in Ruby Hill I've talked to. That's really close to my district. Overland, of course, I've touched base with a lot of people there, and heard some ideas how they want to improve it. But yeah, it's just reaching them and letting them know who I am, and telling them, look at my candidate, look at me. I know I'm a Republican. I know you hate Trump. That's okay. You know what I mean? I don't agree with a lot of things he does myself, but that's not us. Our not all of our values align. You got to remember, at one time Trump was a Democrat too. So he's not the definition of the Republican Party. Look past that. Look into Javier, or Joseph, or whatever his name wants to be, and look into Joseph Montoya and see what I want to do, and give me a chance to step up here, and let's see if we can do something bigger. Because this is just the start. I really want to get in there and run for other offices, and God forbid that I don't win, I'm going to run again for school board, something. But I want to get in there and make a difference for our people. I want to make a difference for my children, for, my sisters, my mother, my brothers, your brothers, your sisters. I really want to back fathers, get some more support for our family court system, which I think is a big thing. I know a lot of people are like, a lot of people aren't affected by that. A lot of people are affected by it.
It is very heavy, actually. When you look at the number of cases and their exponential growth in this country, especially when a lot of things with family court, DV cases, all these kind of things are very much used by the court system to control people's lives, to infiltrate families and tell them what to do, who they and money. That is the biggest thing, and that is something that needs to be talked about. Is that the when more and as a legal expert, you would know better than most. When more laws are pushed, the attorneys make more money. And the fact that you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot here, my friend. You know what I mean? Real, why are you a Republican trying to repeal laws and no new taxes? But jokes aside, it goes to the integrity of a position to actively advocate for policies that are right, regardless of personal interest. That is important for a politician.
So
Thank you.
one of the key aspects I think that the candidates often miss is that in your constituency, in your district, I think the movers and shakers of the community, every community has leaders and
Yes.
and those that are vocal about different topics. So one of the things I always encourage candidates to do is go around and talk to small business owners and ask them the one question right now. Say, are you happy with your state legislature and what they've done to small business in this state? And if they're honest, they're going to say absolutely not. They know. So the obvious question follow up is then why are you continuing to vote for those people that are doing this to you? Is that not voting against your own best interest? That's the key. Forget the R, forget the D. Let's talk policies. Let's talk about what the people are, how the people are being affected, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're someone trying to climb the economic ladder, education, whatever. Those are the issues I think that can resonate well, and in particular with Hispanic voters, because Hispanics are the demographic that starts businesses at the fastest rate than any other demographic. They're very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
So that means they want the opportunity and they want government to just get the heck out of the way.
Yeah, and I participated in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. The Denver Republican Party has a membership, and they'll give me tickets to the event. I went to the soccer game here recently, and I talked to a lot of people, and that's what it is: regulation. They're like, we're getting way too regulated, way too much red tape, way too many fees and taxes, for them to make money. And I'm like, well, why do you vote Democrat? Because these are the policies they're pushing, and I'm the opposite. So just really getting them in there to get them that knowledge. I feel like it's just everybody's lacking the knowledge, and that's fine. And it's just, it's TV you're watching, you're seeing. But when you really dig in, a lot of people don't do that. They don't educate themselves, and I really feel like they do. My district is about 29. I think not 29. It's mostly Hispanic. We're a big Hispanic community.
Yeah, that district's heavily Hispanic.
Huge, and they align with me in the same values as my religion, Christianity, which is also very big. I know we talked about Buddhism, but my Christianity is a very big part of my life. I go to Beacon, Denver, and I listen to beautiful preachers there, and I really take that away in my heart, and I read the Bible every night, and I really think those values need to go back into the state house, and they're missing. They're not there, and with that, I feel like I can work with people who got a different view than me, people who are outside of my box. I really feel like I'll be able to talk to you and see their point of view. Hey, well, why do you believe this? Okay, let me circle around here. I really want to listen to them too and try to come together, because the only way is to come together and meeting in the middle. We're not going to get 100% on this side. We're not going to get, you're not going to get 100% custody taken away and get 100% back. You're going to meet in the middle. And what's the best interest for the kids? Same thing for the state. What's the best interest for the state of Colorado?
Yeah, the pendulum has to swing back in the other direction, and that's it's gone far too much to the left, and now the natural progression is to swing back to the right. But more importantly, with the issues that affect business owners and citizens, and that's the key. And I think
that honestly, Oh, please, because Hugo, something that boils my blood that you just touched on is that I don't think that when Democrats encouraged Hispanic immigration to the United States for us to be here, I don't think they ever had it in mind for us to be citizens or be business owners. I don't think they wanted us to be successful. I think they wanted us
not
to
initially
remain.
they didn't. Yeah.
No. And now you're seeing what I believe is a huge dropping of the ball by the Democrats for Hispanic candidates. I mean, look at all of their front-running people, except for, AOC, who, in my opinion, does not, express her culture unless it benefits her politically. Everyone sees that. There really is not a Hispanic leader in the Democrat Party. Whereas you look at Marco Rubio, the most historically, the most powerful Hispanic politician, political figure, statesman, diplomat, etc. The titles just keep going up. I think he's added Shah of Iran and Captain General of Venezuela to his titles, But jokes aside, this is what I'm seeing, is that opportunities for leadership for Hispanic people are open in the Republican Party, and they really aren't in the Democrat Party. So to Hugo, when you're talking about, absolutely, and so when you're talking about the pendulum swinging, it feels like our community could be, are very much at the head of that pendulum, and candidates like Joseph really, in my opinion, really exemplify that. And to Hugo's point, the first House representative district in Colorado is 48% Hispanic, which is one of the most Hispanic areas politically, geographically.
Yep. And so at the core of a lot of this is also education and parental rights. And the Democrats have basically displayed a total abhorrence to parental rights and education. And their position is, we know best what's good for your children. Just stay back and let us do the damage, basically, is what they're telling parents. So if anything would boil the blood of Hispanic parents, it's someone telling them that they know what's best for their children. So that's something else they could be tapped into. So what do you believe is the proper role of parents in their children's education?
They need a bigger voice there. Absolutely. We need more organizations where parents are, parent teacher organizations have almost eroded. We need to boost them up and get people excited again about their kids' education. They really feel like they don't have a voice or they don't have a choice. I really like my friend Fred. He's running for state board. He's got a lot of great ideas about how to improve that and how to get, spark it again, get that fire under everybody. Like, hey, let's get in there and our voices matter. They feel like they're just being ignored. They go there and they're not hearing and they're just whatever, and they're making their
they are being ignored, that's the thing.
Absolutely. Yep. And it'll discourage you, and that's the way they control them. They take them out. So they need a better platform. They need to be out, and we need to get involved in our children's education better. I don't even think they say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore.
They don't. In most cases, no.
It's sad.
And that's very sad because, from my experience, it really gave us meaning to do things like that. Please, Hugo.
I say this jokingly, but I think what we need is a good old-fashioned torches and pitchfork march on the Capitol.
That sounds like something a pitchfork and torch salesman would say, Hugo.
And all the school board meetings.
I'm sorry, we need representatives like me out there talking to them and getting involved with them, and they're not. These guys are there for their own motives, and what we're not doing is getting out there and speaking to the fire departments more and be like, what are you guys facing? What law can I change for you guys that would benefit you, would make your job easier, would make the community safer and better? It's deregulate, take away all these laws, let people do drugs, let's give them needles, let's give them these tiny homes. I got tiny homes in my neighborhood, and since then we've had arson, we've had robbery, people overdosing. There's a video on my TikTok of the guy literally lying in the street, like flipping out on drugs. And I feel so bad for him. I want to help him. I couldn't do nothing but sit there and record him and document it and be like, this is what we're dealing with, I wish I could go out to him and be like, hey man, how can we change, how can we get you better, And they're not. These legislators are just doing their job, going, fighting, collecting their money. We need to get involved more and getting this grassroots, getting more people campaigning, getting out there and just fighting. This is what it's about. Life is about fighting your battles.
I agree with that completely, and I really love the empathetic approach that you have, because I think that historically, and Hugo, you remember this attack on Republicans on us for so long, that we lacked compassion. That
Oh
was
yeah.
the accusation of us, and I think compassionate republicanism is really coming into its own here. Is really showing itself. And Joseph, I think that you personify that. And one thing that I'm dying to ask, because as many of you know, my wife is on the autism spectrum. She was an autistic therapist, and yes, and is just the best thing ever. So, this is something that is very deep to my heart, and helping kids with autism is very deep to my wife's heart. So, I wanted to ask you, how do you find with that experience on the spectrum running for office? It got to be a unique experience. So, I was wondering if you could talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the first open candidate to come out and say it. I found out I was by my son. My son is he's a level 2. I'm a level 1, obviously, and he's a little more severe. And what he was, my ex-wife noticed it, and I was like, "That's not normal. That sounds like me." And she's like, "No." So we got him diagnosed. She was the one to help get him diagnosed, really be the leader on that. So, she's my ex-wife, but I really love her for that. And for me, it gives us a lot of compassion. Like sometimes I just cry, and it's like try to control myself. It's sometimes too much, or I share too much information, But the thing is, I'm clear, I'm concise. You see who I am. There's no faking. There's no way it's hard for me to lie. I can't really do that. But
That is a genuine thing with people on the autism spectrum, and honestly, I honestly think that is one reason why you have a lot of people on the spectrum in the Republican Party, in the right wing movements, because there is this actual, like, it just hurts you to lie. It hurts you to
Mhm.
hear lies.
Yeah,
It just doesn't. It's an incongruity with
we
the
get upset when things aren't done right. It's like
right.
for some reason, it's like we have to follow the rules, or it freaks us
Yeah.
out. We're like,
It's like being German.
yeah,
as a German on my mom's side, that's the joke there.
yeah.
But yeah, deep
But
respect for
yeah,
that. It's very
that.
true.
And then we're so smart. We're so intelligent. Like when I see something that I'm passionate about, like it's law, it's making music. It's Ghost Elvis. It's my kids. It's advocating for my fathers. You go in 165% because you get stuck in these loops, and you enjoy it, and you can do repetitive stuff. Where some people they get, I guess, too repetitive. Like if you listen to my music, some of it's repetitive.
That sounds like a perfect skill for a politician, is being able to
Yeah,
tolerate repetitive stuff and not tolerate
yeah,
lies. This is a perfect
yeah,
political, I vibe with that so hard, actually. I've often asked my wife, it's like, are you sure I'm not autistic? She's like, no, you choose to be that way. Uh,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
that
I know.
brings us,
You
please
can
go ahead.
tell. You can see your people. I
Yeah.
honestly suspect Trump of being on the spectrum. I really do.
I, hon-
He just
I'm a-
says with no filter, and I'm like, this guy might be on the spectrum too. You
But he
know?
is also German. That is also a thing. So it's like the great debate on that. But no, but jokes aside, that is a big question I have to ask. And Hugo,
Yeah,
you mentioned
I
it
appreciate
before.
that.
So I think Hugo is a big fan of your music. I have to guess. Tell
Thank
us
you.
about your music. I have to know about this. I'm a big EDM fan. Marco Rubio is also a big EDM fan. A lot of
Um,
people don't know that. So please
Dead
tell us
Mouse is my favorite. I love Dead Mouse.
nice.
I go to his concerts all the time. He's a big inspiration to me. I really like to get on his level. I plug in samples into my piano, and I just play different samples, and I mix them together, and then I go in and edit, and I can get in there and edit it. It's fun. I figure out how to cut it and splice it and change it. Um, and me, a lot of the songs come from my heart, like Your Son's Power. I made that at a special time, or it's like just the emotion, and at that time I felt like that. And it's really my emotions, how I'm feeling, and so I put that in there. I do sing. I'm a beautiful singer. I was in Lariat. I was in choir. I just haven't broken into that yet. It would just be like a lot more. And I know I can't open that door because then I get hooked on it and I'll be, and I do want to sing and make songs, but right now it's just kind of that autism voice. Like the songs are really talking arrows, that's like, that means they all have like this special emotional meaning to me, every song that I create. And
That's a true artist right there. That's what a true artist
And
does.
I don't care if I ever get. I've hit over 100,000 plays, which is really like, hey, cool. But it's for me, it's emotions and it's therapy. I do my therapy, and this is one of them. Playing music and getting that sound, and put it out, distribute it under my own label, and that's a lot of work too. And that's where the autism is, figuring out how to distribute it, get my copyrights. And then Elvis was my favorite artist. I sung all his songs. He died on the same day as my dad. This past right now is my dad's
Memory
20th.
eternal.
Yeah. And so when that happened, I was like, I researched the laws. I can call myself Ghost Elvis. I'm not having anything to do with Presley. And I don't have any of the images. So, and it's just a brilliant name because people are like, what? Ghost Elvis? Like, so it's gotten some traction. So, one day maybe it will take off, and I could buy a mansion,
So I want everyone to understand how awesome Denver Republicans are. We have the, blonde supermom. We have the goth baddie. We have the EDM artist. I mean, Hugo, this is an amazing, place that you have there in Denver.
Just a quick fun fact. My son was born on Elvis's birthday.
Hey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And my ex-wife was a huge Elvis fan, and I still remember the day I came home from work and she was crying. We didn't have internet back then, so I wasn't aware what was going on. And she says, Elvis died. And I said, what?
He was a big Denver supporter. He was an honorary police officer here. He used to fly out here and get the Fool's Gold sandwich, which was a pound of bacon, peanut butter jelly, and it was like this huge sandwich. So I
gotta try that. That sounds really good.
He was a big supporter of Colorado. He loved Colorado. He had like the police badge from Colorado. He had guns from here. He was a big lover of Denver. So that was another thing for me. I was like, man, he loved Denver like me.
All right, so we're up against the clock, so we're gonna have to come up to the close here. So. Yeah. What would you want the people of Colorado House District 1 to know about Joseph Montoya and why they should send him to the state capitol?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm here. I'm going to go to your house. You're going to come to me, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to listen. That's the biggest thing. I'm a big listener. I'm going to hear your and the thing is, when I hear your problem, I'm going to be able to figure it out. I'm going to stay and I'm going to spin and spin until I'm like, how do we get this? How do we get these other guys to see this? And let's change that, because with me, a vote is going to change. He's done some decent things there. Not really, but, he's done some stuff. I think his time's up. He's had since 6 years there, Well,
the one thing that I would ask them when I speak to a potential voter, when's the last time you saw your representative?
Yeah.
And if they're honest, most of them are going to say, I've never seen him. Mm-hmm. So then you can say, well, you'll see me plenty. Mm-hmm. I'll give you my personal phone number. You can call me anytime.
Yep, my number's out there, and I don't see his. You can. I also run a process serving business, the Golden Notary, and I do notaries and stuff, and it's right there. 719, almost a number. 719-937-1600. Call me right now and let me know what your ideas are.
The information for Joseph and his campaign and his music can be found in the description below.
There you go. All right, well, Joseph, it's been a pleasure having you tonight. Unfortunately, the clock is our enemy, and we are coming to the end of our time on air tonight. But we want to wish you the best, and we'll be watching your campaign and try to keep us updated so we can report on it, and maybe we can even get you in for a short segment between now and I say early October, because that's when the ballots start dropping.
Absolutely, and I'll definitely be up in Denver for the celebration rave. You'll be DJing, so that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, if you can send me a friend request. I just got Hugo as a friend, so look me up Facebook. Yeah, I'd love it.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Good luck to you on the campaign. God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care, folks.
All right.
And I just have to mention one thing, because if you want to think that he's the only EDM artist of this kind, I want you guys to check out Wumbo, good friend of mine. I will tell you more information another time because we are up against the clock, but look that up
Yep.
too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed this interview. Look up, if you're in District 1, look up Joseph Montoya. If you're
Go
able
find
to help
him. Go help him.
help him, donate, and get the word out. So maybe
Spread
we
the
can
word.
flip that. All right. That's all the time we have for tonight. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week with another exciting edition of the Hispanic Patriot